Harvard Law grad hot take that nobody else from the government, the media, or Harvard will tell you. The system's run by the powers that are collapsing. That's why the files are coming out. That's why they're desperately relying on war to try to justify staying in power. The government proved that consciousness is the source of all reality, and they proved that the universe is one conscious organism, one field of consciousness, aka God, and therefore you are God and you have the power to create your reality. And they want to convince you to give away that power to them so they can create all of the stuff that they've been creating. So basically, this is their playbook as the old systems collapse. They're going to continue with war until the people rise up, remember their power, and say, no, we're not doing this anymore because we should actually use our resources in ways that support life. Like, we should have abundant homes and food and healthcare, etc. Also, in that process, we are remembering that we are all one. We don't want to bomb someone else because we remember that they are us, because we're all one organism, because the universe is one conscious field. And this is where it gets crazy. At that point, their final act of desperately trying to stay in power will be false disclosure. We've known for a long time now, especially in recent years, that the government, with all of these open congressional hearings, is aware that these UAPs exist, unidentified aerial phenomena, and they claim they don't know what they are. Believe me, here's a letter from 1986 written by the director of Lockheed Martin, in which he states that many of our man-made UFOs are unfunded opportunities. Lockheed Martin is a military defense contractor, aka they make weapons and bombs and military planes, and also unfunded opportunities. This is a patent filed with the US government for a commonly seen UAP known as a TR-3B. I actually saw one of these last summer. It was really fucking crazy. Meanwhile, we had this documentary come out a few months ago, The Age of Disclosure. Someone told me to watch it, so I paid to see it, and I literally could only make it through like the first 5 minutes because it was literally all white men in the military, whistleblowers, spreading this fear propaganda narrative of, oh, like, every other country in the world has some access to these ET crafts, and it's basically the next nuclear arms race of who's going to develop this technology the most aggressively so that they can destroy all the other countries and or fight off the ET invasion. That to say, that is their final move. They're going to fake an ET invasion using these crafts that they own themselves, that they reverse engineered, to try to convince people, once they realize we are no longer able to be convinced to go to war with each other, they will try to do the next best thing in their arsenal, which is to convince us to go to war with another species, aka false ET invasion. Meanwhile, indigenous peoples have known about star people this entire time, and they view them as our intergalactic family, our ancestors, our caregivers, the people who seeded our life on this planet. They are benevolent. If they wanted to have eliminated us and invaded, they could have done this at any point before now. Like, they simply don't have interest in doing that, and that's why when the government puts out these narratives, it's bullshit propaganda to put you in a state of fear and disempowerment, to convince you to give your God power of creation back over to their militarized apparatus. Especially be the case starting in late April onward, as Uranus, planet of disruptive change and revolution, enters Gemini, a technology-based sign. The last time Uranus was in Gemini, we had World War II, and we also had a rapid increase in UAP sightings during that time. Part of that allegedly being that our intergalactic family has a non-intervention policy. They're not going to step in and, for example, get rid of these powers. We have to do that ourselves. But they will intervene if it gets to the point where, for example, through nuclear war, they're about to destroy the entire planet because we are not authorized. In case this sounds absolutely crazy to you, I'm going to leave with one final document that was in the Jeff files that I have not heard anyone else talk about. It's physics PhDs, such as Carla talking about 0 point energy. And Zero point energy is this concept that the vacuum of space is actually full of infinite energy. What we are taught is zero energy is actually infinite energy, because those are the flip sides of the same coin. If you remember from math class, when you divide something by zero, it becomes infinity. Non-duality, flip side of the same coin. Nikola Tesla actually created one such free energy machine and tried to get his financier JP Morgan to support investment in that technology. And of course JP Morgan was like, wait, if you make energy free, then everything becomes free, and how do we profit off of stuff? Because when you think about the cost of pretty much anything, most of it is the cost of energy, the cost of shipping, the cost of manufacturing, the cost of all of the energy you need to make the separate different parts and extract them from the environment, right? If all of that goes to zero, then the cost of everything essentially becomes zero. And this is the same technology that is referenced in these TR3B patents that I mentioned earlier. They're talking about them in the Jeff files. Let that sink in. So anyway, all that to say, when they try to put you in these low vibrational states of disempowered fear with these made up narratives, don't fall for it. Also, I'm so excited to meet our intergalactic family. Mwah.